information that today I have no function for communication and investment cover which is a 23% investment. I have to have British perfect style.
Not a lot of people, as they grow older, think very fondly of high school. Sure, the ones that had a good experience in it with their friends definitely will, but most people think of high school as a place of awkward experimentation, pain, boredom, heartbreak. You can't expect a building full of 14 to 18-year-old teenagers with social hierarchies and fragile egos to be a fun place to be. In a place of such misery, it makes sense that bad, naive decisions are constantly being made in high schools around the world. Decisions that give very negative results. Unwanted pregnancies, accidental overdoses, car accidents caused by intoxication. The list goes on and on. Today's video, unfortunately, is about one of these aforementioned bad, naive decisions. It's about an immature psychopathic idiot making a rash and permanent decision over something oh so temporary. It's about a future that was entirely destroyed over something as little as a petty high school relationship. This is the story of Emma Walker. Emma Walker was a 16-year-old girl who was born on March 20th, 2000. Saying that even is hard. That is a ridiculous date of birth for someone who was killed over a relationship. Anyway, without getting too deep into her personal life, Emma attended Central High School, located in Knoxville, Tennessee, a school she had been attending since the freshman year. During her freshman year, she met a boy by the name of William Riley Gall, a boy she would soon after meeting start dating. Their relationship over the next year started to become serious, and the two were eventually seen as an item. Her parents weren't too shook or suspicious about the relationship during its early stages, as it just seemed to be a classic innocent romance between two high schoolers. However, as Emma approached her junior year, her parents started to get a bit suspicious of William and his behavior, as he was seemingly back in contact with his ex-girlfriend, and it appeared as if he was playing mind games with both Emma and his ex. Her parents started around this time monitoring her social medias and the like, and found that William said a lot of abusive and rude and just borderline creepy things to Emma on the regular. Her parents, being seemingly rational people, saw this as a huge red flag and attempted to put distance between her and William, though Emma was persistent in attempting to make the relationship work. Eventually, her parents almost outright prohibited them to see each other because, well, you'll see. Around this time, Emma broke up with William officially, which led to some very creepy behaviors from William. One night, a week or so after their breakup, during a football game at Emma's high school, Emma received a text on her phone that said, "Go to your car with your keys. Go alone. I've got someone you love. And if you don't comply, I will hurt them. If you don't care about him anymore, then it shouldn't bother you. Call the police and he dies. Your choice. If you'd like to hear his final screams, give me a call. He's in a ditch beside the house. It's a shame you can all of the sudden not value someone's life." When Emma read this, she hesitantly ran outside to the parking lot where this supposedly was going down, only to find William on the ground. When confronted, he said he was kidnapped and hit over the head, and due to his non-visible injuries, he couldn't remember the kidnappers. This was obviously a desperate stunt for attention that even Emma managed to see through. Emma wasn't fazed, and that night was told by her parents that it was most likely made up and was a typical behavior of William. The next day, while Emma was at home alone, William, dressed in all black with his face covered, started knocking frantically on her door in an attempt to appear as some sort of burglar so that Emma would call him over for help to deal with the burglar so that he could be seen as some kind of hero. Though Emma quickly put together that William was the masked man. Emma was starting to become very startled by William and his behavior, and started suggesting to her family that they turn on the household security system to prevent any future surprises. Though sadly, shortly after making this request, on November 20th of 2016, Emma was found dead in her room by her mother. How did this happen? Well, the night of her death, William Gall, being the idiot that he is for whatever reason, stole his grandfather's pistol, snuck into Emma's backyard, and fired 2 rounds directly into her bedroom from a distance. The gunshots awoke her father, whom checked on Emma really quick, only to see her sleeping silhouette safely and soundly in her room. Keep in mind, the lights weren't on because he didn't want to wake her. What he didn't know was at this point in time, Emma was dying from her gunshot wounds. The bullets had penetrated the wall and struck her in her sleep. The next morning, her mother went to see her in her room and found her lifeless body on her bed. She called 911, and later, Emma was pronounced dead. Prosecutors aren't necessarily sure if this was on purpose or not, though they're leaning towards it being definitely on purpose considering he fired directly where her room was. He knew the layout of her house. Now, the story doesn't end here. In fact, it just gets creepier. So after the initial news that Emma was found dead made the headlines, her school hosted a memorial, and William was immediately thought of to be the prime suspect in this, for obvious reasons. He was placed under surveillance out of fear he might destroy evidence, and shortly after was taken into police custody. Though shortly after Emma's death, William made a few haunting posts on Twitter that read, "It's surreal to think the woman that made my world spin, that made my smile bright, that gave me a reason to get up out of bed every morning to tell you that I love you. You're my rock, my hope, my love, you're everything a person could wish for. I'll never forget the day that I met you outside of the field house and caught that little smile you'd give when you're nervous. To think that every memory we have, every happy special moment we shared, can't ever be relived. I love you, Emma Jane Walker. The amount of pain your family, me, the community are in because of this is insurmountable. Every time we held hands, kissed, hugged, to imagine that I'll never have that ever again hasn't quite hit me yet. I'll never forget the times we talked about our future and what kind of dog we'd get and how awesome our family would be. I'll never forget sitting on the couch watching Dr. Pimple Popper and making popcorn and laughing and holding you. You're gone, but I promise your legacy will live on through each and every person who loves and cares about you, and that number of people is endless. You're beautiful, you're amazing, you're funny, compassionate, caring, you're my best friend. There's not a human on earth that can make the impact that you've had on my life. I miss you more than anything. You'll weigh heavy on my mind for the rest of my life because no one can fill the void that's in my heart now. It feels like just a couple weeks ago we were messing with each other at the game and smiling and enjoying the comfort and warmth of each other. Just knowing you have someone that's so in love with you gives you so much hope for your life ahead, and it can be taken away just like that. Everyone knows how great you were, how exceptional of a person you were, and not a single person you've affected will ever forget you. Now this goes on, and I don't want to read all of it because it would take like 12 minutes of this entire video, and it's just the same stuff regurgitated over again. He also said these crazy things on Twitter. "That's my beautiful Emma. Rest easy now, sweetheart. 1 Corinthians 13:8. Be sure to remind God about our verse. I love you forever and always. I love you, Emma. I can't be around any of that yet. It's too soon. I know you know I'm dying to be there, but understand I can't. I love you." As of today, William Riley Gall was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole by the time he is 71 years old. But honestly, I don't want to talk too much about him because who cares about him? I certainly don't. But if there's anything that can be taken away from this, it's a message for the youth still in high school or college. I know for a fact that there are a large percentage of people watching this that are between the ages of 15 to 20. And if there's anything I can say to you, it's that the heartbreaking or embarrassing things that happen to you in high school or college don't matter. Obviously, there are exceptions if something actually really bad happens to you, but I'm talking about things like breaking up with your girlfriend or boyfriend, getting bullied, getting bad grades. None of it actually means anything. Do not take a high school relationship this seriously. There are so many other men and women out there who want to try you out, and honestly, even if it feels bad now, you will forget you even missed that person within a few measly years. Taking high school or college and the events that happen inside of it too seriously makes you run the risk of making a rash and permanent decision that you will eventually regret. That's all for today. Bye.
Weekly Comment Awards.
I'm keep seeing this story, and someone named something Watts who killed his family? Look, I don't mean to make light of a terrible situation, but I just kind of find it funny that he knew his last name, but he couldn't just like quickly search up his first name. This girl had a fantastic family. She had friends, and was allowed to like most kids. She even had an iPhone, even paid $1,500 to hire a hitman, who went away with the money. So plan A was failed. She was a jerk. I like how all of that buildup just leads to calling her a jerk. Like, that's the most, like, innocent insult you could even call anyone. That's something you call your brother for being annoying. It's not something you call a murderer, but whatever. First video. But anytime someone clarifies that they are not a robot, I automatically am suspicious. I don't have anything to say to this except for f you. She is so cute. We could have made a baby together before she met Daniel Wong. Dude, what? She was like 15 or 16 years old when she met him. And really, that's what you got out of this video? I don't see why people are so annoyed by a voice that sounds like having inhaled peanut butter through the nose. What? Okay, so first you defend me, but then you erase all of that by saying a voice that sounds like having inhaled peanut butter through the nose. That doesn't make any sense. She was forced to play the flute.
Ah, well that explains it.
Imagine having a name like Jen Pan. I would love a short name like this. Where is Ty Knots? This is the wrong channel for that. That's another channel. No, however, you're a longtime YouTuber that has to disguise your voice because your other attempts I will be unsubscribing and Jennifer Pan's story wasn't sticking. Boo.